Hello and welcome to this revisit, and probably last time you'll ever see it, of Paul Masson's Grand Amber Brandy VSOP. Very special old pale, as they say it stands for on their website. Aged 4 years in oak. And what oak? Well, I'll tell you. Okay, this is 80 proof. It's owned by Constellation Brands. The whole Paul Masson wine company, Brandy company, got bought out by Paul Masson, by Constellation Brands years ago. They age it in used bourbon barrels for 4 years at the Barton Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. Okay. Now it says on here, special blend of superior brandy aged 4 years in oak. It is true they use a blend of various brandies to come up with this sort of standard Paul Masson flavor for the VSOP. Rich flavor, fine aroma, and extra smooth taste you'd expect from the finest brandy. Well, $13.99 a bottle, on sale, $14.99 usually. I don't know about the finest brandy, but it's certainly nice in my experience. Blended and bottled. Now notice it says blended and bottled by Paul Masson of Bardstown, Kentucky. It's actually Barton Distillery of Bardstown, Kentucky. I went on a tour there earlier this year, and they told me that there's a contract they have with Constellation Brands, Paul Masson. They call it Paul Masson, but that subsidiary, and they, I guess they blend the brandy there, and then they barrel age it for 4 years under a contract agreement. So, when we were in that huge barrel house, she said it held 22,000 barrels. She was telling me a large number of these barrels contain, guess what? And I knew what she was going to say. Before I could say it, she said, brandy. I said, yeah, I knew that. Anyway, where is it actually distilled, though? It doesn't say that. It's just given a code, K16207. 20th hour, 20 minutes, 05. So what that means, I don't know. K might be somewhere in Kentucky. I know the headquarters for Paul Masson, Constellation Brands, is Canandaigua, New York. So it could be distilled there, trucked down to Bardstown, blended, and then barrel aged. Yeah, it's a real cork. This is a new label. They used to have sort of a gold and brown, and they adopted the blue. I guess that's to go head to head with the E&J VSOP, which also uses that blue look. This is D.W. Anders, made for Safeway and Albertson stores. VSOP also. It's a flavored brandy, natural flavors and caramel color. It's an odd one, bottled by the Founders Company of Louisville, Kentucky. Also Barton, the Sazerac Company, Barton, same company, 2 different plants. This is Saint Remy, that's over there in France. All right, anyway, but these are all about 4 years. And they're all, well, these two are about the same price, $14. This one's about $8. And it's a much stranger item. But we'll get to that one in a revisit later. You can watch my initial video, but I like to do some more thinking and drinking on it. Okay, I'm putting in this cognac glass. It's not cognac, but it is brandy. Some alcohol eggs. And this is a dark, deep copper, really. Dark copper. You could probably see that. No coloring, okay, so that I know of. So it's naturally dark from the 4 years in those charred bourbon barrels. I say that I know because with whiskey it must be disclosed if they use flavorings or colorings of any sort. With brandy, it's an option, and I think that's the same thing with, I'm talking about American whiskey. With Scotch whiskey, they also add colorings, caramel color, and they don't have to disclose it. Okay, from what I was told on the Jack Daniels tour. Okay, the 2 Scotsmen on the tour did not dispute that fact when the tour guide brought that up. They just shrugged their shoulders and said, like so. And they had a little, it got a little heated in there between those two. I wish I had recorded that. It's got a rich aroma, like they say, and they said their target audience, and this is coming from Constellation Brands, not me. They said their target audience is African American males, age 25 to 45, who view brandy as, what they say, sophisticated, masculine, and handcrafted. Well, I'm not African. I'm not an African. I'm not in the 25 to 45 age range. But I do view brandy as sophisticated, masculine, and handcrafted. So it has a bourbon nose, but you know bourbon is 51% corn and other things, and this is made with grapes. No grains, no corn, no rye, no barley malt. Just a combination of grape wines, which are produced for brandy production. Okay, so it's like a brandy type wine. Okay, most of the American brandies are producing column stills. In La République Française, they tend to use open, they call it the open pot method. In Italy and Germany, in Spain, I don't really know yet. I haven't researched it enough. They use some kind of distilling method. And there's a dispute, I guess, over which is better, column still, open pot. They both taste kind of the same to me, both pretty good. All right, so it's woody, rich. It's pretty strong alcohol coming through on this, I gotta say. I was trying to think vanilla. Maybe not. No. A little caramel, sugar. I often remark that brandy is sort of like grape whiskey, and in some respects, to me, it has a lot of characters that cross over. I don't know how whiskey drinkers would feel about it. Most whiskey drinkers I know don't fool with brandy, and many that I've talked to never had it. But it may be the same for brandy. Drinkers have done no sort of studies. I thought the VS, the Grand Amber, which I believe is only aged 2 years, it was pretty good. Better probably for mixed drinks, which I don't really have any interest in mixed drinks. But this is a much better standalone. If you could take the woodiness, it has a pretty hefty amount of oak woodiness. This uses French oak, by the way. This would be charred white oak barrels. So I figured I'd revisit it since I'm going to try to drink these down. I've got too much of a backstock, and so you might see some. I'm trying to figure out a way to like drink them down and then bring other new products into play, like a system where it's the same amount every day on average. You know, the little 3 ounces or less. So. I'm trying to come up with some kind of like circular thing. You don't do that with beer because you just drink the one beer, right? And it's gone, right? But with these, you got to kind of schedule it in a way. All right. So, yeah, I highly recommend it. Is that a common thing, aging them in charred oak barrels for 4 years for the VSOPs? I don't really know. I would assume that it probably is. The Corbel, that's a California company. Paul Masson started in California. E&J, of course, Ernest and Julio Gallo. They're owned by Brown-Forman, and that's the owners of Jack Daniels, Simpler Times, and many other whiskey brands, so they have a lot of barrels on hand. So I would imagine it's pretty common. All right, it's probably the norm. So yeah, if you see it for $14.99, or like we get it here on sale, $13.99, I would definitely go for it. My friend David tried it; he was very impressed. So me, wasn't like overwhelmed, like so wonderful, but he he was pleased, favorable towards it. Thank you for watching this. Let me think. Any other comments? The body's normal, like medium. I find most of these liquors tend to have a medium body, not too heavy, not too light. The Canadian Mist, that was a little light, a little too light. The finish on these usually is kind of the same, like it doesn't linger too long, doesn't drop off too fast, just kind of like fades appropriately away. So yeah, that's it. Really good stuff. Very special old pale. I like it. Don't adore it. Not overwhelmed by it, but very pleased with it. Thanks for watching this video production. There's the phone. Yeah.